Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. Wherever you are, whether it's the morning or the afternoon, we have finally made it. This is the final installment of Love and Marriage Huntsville Season 6 Reunion Part 3. But just because the show is over doesn't mean the drama is, because there's always something that's going down in those Huntsville streets. So Tasha K on her community wall this morning, or was it yesterday morning, she had posted that she's doing an interview with Martell. So I'm looking forward to that. I can't wait to see what tricks he got up his sleeves or what lies he's going to tell this time. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the recap. We pick back up with Melody stating the very obvious. Miss Betty is a demon and she's very irate. Melody is trying to have a conversation with Stormy, but her mama won't shut her damn mouth. So Stormy tries to convince Melody that she likes her and that she always have. Is that why you befriended Coleslaw? Is that why you talk behind Melody's back? I don't think Stormy likes Melody at all. And I think the only reason she's saying she likes Melody now is because she knows the fans don't play about Melody. So she tells Melody that the tweet situation kind of got out of hand, and that Melody had the power to de-escalate before the fans heavily got involved. She said that's the reason Tiffany is leaving, because shit got real. No, heifer. No. Tiffany is leaving due to postpartum depression. It had nothing to do with the fans. So here she is trying to fabricate a narrative to try to foster unnecessary guilt in Melody. Girl, bye. Did y'all see what she just tried to pull here? So Stormy says that she worked real hard for Canvas Beauty and that Melody can relate because she is the one that built Love and Marriage Huntsville. Stormy doesn't know how the relationship between she and Melody fell apart. Well, Stormy was texting Melody, old number, and she didn't know Melody changed her number. So when her messages went unanswered, she thought she was being ignored. But Stormy and her mama ended up on Twitter bad-mouthing Melody, saying that she's a snake. Stormy tells Melody that she does not want this big issue between them to be the assumption that her mother doesn't like Melody. Well, your mama made it clear she don't like Melody. She said she didn't like her energy and that she wasn't a good friend to you. So what are you talking about? Melody had an event, I think in season 5, and Stormy and her mother was there. Melody and Stormy was very rude to both Melody and Miss Fletcher. It was ridiculous. You came to her event acting nasty. So once Betty finally shut her damn mouth, having been asked 6 times by Carlos, they talk about Stormy having to fire her cousin Junior, which caused animosity between Junior's mother and his Aunt Betty. Junior was eventually rehired by Courtney, but we find out that Junior has decided that it was in his best interest to no longer work for his cousin. And he ended things on a good note with her. So now he's a manager at a restaurant. So Stormy starts crying because she says that she wishes he was a manager at Canvas Beauty. I do respect his decision to move on from Canvas Beauty because working for family can be very complicated. We also learned that things between Miss Betty and her sister remains the same. Their relationship is not amendable. They did not make amends yet, and probably more than likely won't. So Carlos also mentioned that he invited her sister to the reunion, but the invitation was declined, and I respect her decision because she knows her sister would have made her look like the villain. So yeah, I do respect her decision not to come. Moving on to the Fletchers. So Carlos says that Miss Fletcher wasn't enthusiastic on being on the show. And she said yes, partly because she wasn't ready to fully share her personal life. I would like to see more of them in season 7 and less of the Scotts. So she did say that her family has gotten better. Chris Jr. is calling more. I would have liked to hear more about Alexis and what happened with her and Chris. Are they on good terms? Is things still rocky? So yeah, I definitely wanted to hear about that, but we didn't. She also explained why she was offended by not being on the Black Expo panel. And she said, Leticia invited her Well, she said she was going to invite her, but never did. And if anyone deserves to be on that panel, it was the Fletchers. So the excuse/lie Latisha gave was that it slipped her mind. Then she said, well, it was really about the core six, which Stormy isn't a part of, and Chris called Latisha out on that. So Latisha, this is your fourth excuse you gave for not inviting them after you said you would. So Marsau said that Chris never told him that his wife was a business owner, which he thought was very sexist of him. Clearly, Marsau was trolling. Bye. So moving on, Carlos asked Latisha the motivation behind asking the Fletchers if they've ever experienced infidelity in their marriage. So she said, well, I have always been direct about things, huh? She never answered the question, and Carlos seemed to just breeze right past it. And Latisha has that smirk on her face. You've been in denial and blind about things. You've never been direct about anything. You can't even admit that you lack accountability. So moving on, Carlos asked Mick Fletcher, how did she know her husband was cheating on her? But any man that's a friend of Martell has probably cheated. Martell brought his side chick around Maurice and Marsau. And I'm sure Mr. Fletcher knew about it, and nobody said anything to Melody. So anybody that hang around that man is cheating. So Miss Fletcher says she was told about his cheating ways, and Carlos wanted to know if the other woman told her, and she said no. Ain't no side chick had a balls to step to her. And although it was wrong for Chris to have the affair, I'm glad he kept his side chick in her lane and wasn't comfortable like Martell made his mistress comfortable to approach his wife, call her phone and his phone. How you gonna call a wife's phone looking for her damn husband? Out of line. He made that heifer so comfortable that she actually called the wife's phone looking for her husband, as if Melody was the side chick and she was the wife. So Miss Fletcher mentioned that she did try to encourage Martell and Melody to work on their marriage because she was going through the same thing. And she said that with Martell, she can see Chris inside Martell with his flashiness and his arrogance. And she said that reminded her of Chris. And she saw growth in Chris, and she felt there was room for Martell to grow as well. She said that she can tell that Mel and Martell loved each other. I could see that Mel loved Martell, but I did not see any type of love for Melody from Martell. I just did not see it from day one. I felt like he had more love for Coleslaw than he did Mel. He protected Coleslaw. He always took up for her, but he never, and always defended her, but he never defended Melody. And if he loved her, love would have brought his ass home every night during the pandemic, but instead, he was out trying to get some puss. Love wouldn't have had a side baby. Love wouldn't be dragging your ex-wife through the mud, lying on her name, trying to take her children from her when you know you are not fit as a father to raise them. So Melody went on to say that Nell and her husband was there for them during Martell's cheating scandal, and they were very neutral and never took sides, despite what Martell said, because he insists that they were taking Melody's side. So now we get on to the Houston trip, and Carlos wanted to know who was that lady that was invited by Martell to Houston 3 a.m. in the morning for a massage, he said. And he then said that he did not sleep with her. It was just for a massage. But the only thing that is open that late is 7-Eleven and Legs. And that clearly was not no damn masseuse. So Mel made a good point. When the masseuse arrives, the person always have a massage table. So Martell said the table was his bed. I bet. And you was right in between them legs in that bed. So Nell tells Martell that it was very disrespectful to him to bring a woman on the trip. And I think it was too. So Kimmi chimes in. Here she come to the rescue of Martell, his number one cheerleader. And she said, well, Melody, you had a masseuse come too, didn't you? She was waiting for the perfect opportunity to throw Melody under the bus because she wants to try to cape for Martell. Why couldn't you just sat there and be cute? But you had to open your mouth because you was waiting for that opportunity. You couldn't wait till the opportunity presented itself for you to throw her under the bus. I don't care what anyone says. Kimmi and Leticia takes glory in throwing Melody under the bus and to see her back into a corner. And Kimmi gave Martell just the ammunition that he needed because he took it right there. He's flipped that and turned it back on Melody. Why is it okay for you to invite someone on the Houston trip, but I can't? That's all he needed. Every time it's time for him to take some accountability, he drags Melody in it. So Martell continues his smear campaign and he says that Melody cheated during their marriage. And that he got upset when Nell mentioned his cheating, but didn't hold Melody accountable. Here he is again, turning it back on Melody, instead of acknowledging that he ruined his own damn family. He wasn't willing to change, and then he blamed his wife for his damn cheating. You can give a man everything, and he still won't be satisfied. When the world was on lockdown, Martell was out trying to get some puss. Over and over and over. You were reckless, you were unprotected, and you got your side chick pregnant. Not once, but 3 times. And from what I hear, what she said on her live, I think it was during the Latisha Scott interview that she had terminated 2 of the pregnancies. So Carlos said the viewers wanted to know why the hell Chris allowed Martell to yell at his damn wife and disrespect her and scream at her from the bottom of his lungs. So Chris said he allows that because it's like they have a brother and sister relationship. Mel thinks it's inappropriate, and she's addressed that with Chris that what Martell is doing is very disrespectful, and is. Martell tried to make excuses and say that they both yell at each other, which they do, and they are both equally wrong. And Melody made a point, which I agree with. If things are getting heated, then Martell, walk away instead of trying to go tit for tat. But Martell likes to have the last word, and he likes to always be right. And Chris should have nipped that in the bud because Martell was out of line to yell and scream at a woman like that. It's hostile. Okay, so now the conversation shifts to Latisha, and she says she felt blindsided when Keke showed up on the trip. And even though she made it clear that she did not want to be around her, but Latisha, you can't dictate the spaces she's allowed in. I do agree that Nell should have told you that Keke was coming, but you have to be adult enough and mature enough to coexist in the same place. Just agree not to speak to each other. That's all. So Keke says she wanted to come because she wanted to have a good time and she wanted to apologize to Latisha. And I don't think it was fair to exclude Keke because she threw a drink on Latisha. Include her and just let them keep their distance. That's it. Latisha says the relationship with her and Keke is dead. There is no amending any damn thing. God said go. So Carlos said the people were wondering, but what he really means is he is wondering if Keke used her relationship with Latisha to cement herself on the show, and that she pretty much chose the show over her cousin Latisha. Why would Latisha put Keke in a position to choose between the show and her cousin? Latisha should want to put her cousin in a position for a better opportunity to open the doors for her. So I would have chose the show too. Why not put your cousin on in a position that's going to benefit her financially? How dare you try to withhold that from her? I would have chose the show too. So Letitia's excuse is that Keke is dealing with some things, and that if Latisha was in her position, she wouldn't want those things to come out because that could affect her family. So Keke said, listen, I don't have nothing to hide. Only thing that you have is her substance abuse and her infidelity with her husband. So Martell said, well, Marsau said there was one more major thing. So Keke called their bluff. What is it? Speak about it. Tell us. Let us all hear. And all you heard was crickets. If they being the messy people that they are, if they had other things to reveal, it would have been revealed by now because that's who they are. So now they're talking about Latisha and this fake pregnancy test. Marsau believes that Latisha is capable of cheating on him. But she doesn't think Marsau is capable of cheating on her. Read in between the lines, Latisha. He is trying to tell you something, girl. He's trying to tell you something without telling you. How can your husband believe that you will cheat, but you don't believe that he will? Make it make sense, Latisha. She brags about standing 10 toes down for him, but he can't even stand up for his wife to speak of her character. He's still thinking that she would cheat. It says a lot, Latisha. This man throws you under the bus every chance he can get. He embarrasses you. He told you on national TV that you lack accountability, and you still didn't believe it. He's never stood up for you, ever. Ooh, child, that is the end of this season. Like the video, comment your thoughts, and subscribe if you like it. Bye.